Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shay Douglas, and I'm here with Colleen Scott and Sally Douglas this week. How are you, ladies?
Very well, thank you.
Very well, thank you.
Awesome. Today we're excited. We're going to open up the discussion around celebration, most importantly, celebrating women for International Women's Day yesterday, 2021. And we're just going to open up a few questions and a bit of a discussion around the importance of celebrating womanhood. What does it mean to be a woman in today's world? Some of the challenges that are involved with being a woman, and also how to overcome those challenges coming together to support other women in the world. I am your host, so I'll be asking the questions as I am not a woman and I don't have experience in that role. So I'm glad to have these beautiful ladies sharing again from experience. They've got some years behind them now that they get to share from their wisdom within as being mothers, being aunties, being grandmothers, and being sisters in the world. So is there anything else that you feel you ladies would like to share in this conversation to keep it relevant around the International Women's Day?
Oh, just see how we flow, I think, as feminine women tend to do.
Sounds good. So I just want to thank you as well for listening and watching in. If you do like this, please give us a like. And if you don't like it, no problem. Leave us a comment and let us know what you didn't like. We usually respond to comments and we can open up a discussion. If you did find something relevant out of this conversation, please share it with your friends. They would really appreciate that. Otherwise, let's jump straight into it. What does it mean to be a woman in today's world?
I think we have an amazing opportunity to experience many aspects of life being a woman in today's world. I think we're very fortunate to be living in this time frame. So as women, we have the opportunity to actually direct our lives, whether it be in a career path or family path or developing our own inner selves. I think we're in a very fortunate time frame right now. I think a modern woman, if anything, probably has so many options. It's really important that we focus and really intuitively go inside to understand what we really want to give our energy to. So I think we're very capable, and I think we're very fortunate to be able to direct our lives in very positive ways, whether it be in the house or in a workplace or in a community. So I think we're in a very fortunate time frame right now. Yeah.
Lovely, well said.
Yeah.
How about you, Colleen?
I think, absolutely. I agree, Sally. There are so many opportunities available to us in the time frame that we're living in, and so very grateful for the women that led before us for us to be able to be in this position. And I know quite often that's one of the things they talk about with International Women's Day, but at the same time, I feel like it can sometimes be overwhelming, because it is about having to really tune in and tap into, how do I want to show up, and what am I passionate about, and where do I want to invest my energy, because we have so many choices. And I feel like we're kind of part of a generation that we're told we can be anything, do anything, and have anything, which is great. But there has been also a bit of a cost, I feel, sometimes with that, a lot of burnout and overwhelm and stress in the body from trying to do everything all at once, which I don't really feel we were intended or we were designed to do. There's definitely stages and phases, but at the same time, being able to choose to have a family, choose to have a career, the possibilities are limitless which is great. But at the same time, it's now more than ever really important for women to stop and listen and really get clear about what brings them joy and what their gifts, their talents, and their passions are, and how they want to share those with the world and lead their lives that way. Yeah.
Great answers. Do you find that you spoke to a modern woman today? Let's go wind the clock back 100 years, for example. Obviously, you spoke to a very fortunate time that we're living in. What would you suggest is the biggest difference between being a woman today and being a woman 100 years ago?
I think obviously societal expectations in the past where you were in the home and the male was the patriarchal system was really in play. And I think it was very difficult for women to break out of that box unless they were rebellious. I mean, there was women leaders at that time that did do massive work. And, when you think about even women didn't get the vote until, very, very recent in relative terms. I think it was the 40s or 50s. So it's kind of hard even to perceive that there wasn't an equality of voice and women weren't really heard, or they didn't have I'm not saying that the work in the home isn't as important as working and being heard in the exterior world, but it's definitely a far cry from 100 years ago, for sure. What do you think, Colleen?
Yeah, I think definitely as society, we've changed our viewpoints about what is expected and what is okay for women to be and do. I feel kind of there might have also, though, even been differences depending on whether you were, say, in a city as opposed to a rural environment. I mean, my parents or grandparents had a farm and they were on the land, and I sometimes wonder, like looking back in time, like we're talking like the early 1900s, that time frame where they husbands and wives worked side by side because they had to, like that was just part of being able to survive in those environments, whereas the cities definitely there seemed to be a little bit of different dynamic in the relationships. I feel, especially as people began to move more towards the cities, and you had like factory work or offices, or so it wasn't about and men may have been out working somewhere for long periods of time, and that would have had an impact on roles, I guess, and expectations if we thought what was women's work and what was men's work, that kind of thing. And now definitely I think that I guess the feminist movement kind of has been trying to move in that direction of making it that anything is possible. Like there's not these roles so much about what is a man's work, what women's work, and so whether that's corporations or companies or dividing household responsibilities, that kind of thing. And I feel like we kind of still have a long way to go with that, because I feel like we're not having enough conversation about how to help and support each other, as opposed to we're still kind of stuck in these role identities of how we're supposed to be and what our goals are supposed to be like. And I think we do need to be having a lot more conversations around just looking at individuals and what are people, what are their passions, and what are their gifts and their talents. How can we best nurture those and in the various environments, so that we're supporting each other, but we're also, the whole community and society is benefiting as well.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you both make, and how times are definitely changing. And something that I really respect that you do, Colleen, and when you're working with women primarily, is bringing the best out of them and coaching them and supporting them, mentoring them to ultimately have that deeper level of self-inquiry, because all of these questions that you pose for them to explore is to explore deeper parts of themselves, because it's like you're, as the guide, offering them opportunity to explore on a deeper self-reflection basis who they are at their core. You know, what are they passionate about? What do they love to do? And I just wanted to acknowledge, while we're chatting here, we had a small little comment from Andrea Lopez. She said, respect worldwide goes a long way. And that's totally right. Like, when we have respect for ourselves and respect for others, particularly respect for women on an equal basis as we would for anyone, it goes a tremendously long way. And on that note, my next question is around, the women's role in community. And so the word community can bring up a lot of triggers for some people. You know, we think about this idea of community being this, hippie little commune out in the bush somewhere. But the reality is, a community is the people that we're surrounded with in our environment, whether that's our friends, or it could be a sporting community, it could be a dance community, it could be a community of friends and family, essentially. And so within that that realm of social dimension, a woman, it seems, has a different role to 100 years ago as they do today. What would be some of the primary responsibilities that women, outside of obviously the really maternal ones, which are very evident, to birth children and raise a child, something that I feel both of you ladies do, and what Colleen was touching on a little bit, but I'm keen to digress it a bit more around supporting other women in that community. What does that look like? And how do you do that on a practical level?
Yeah, I think it varies when you're at different life stages. So, I mean, both of us are in our, middle years. And I think now that our children's group of friends are starting to have their children, I think we're in a really great position to support those young women in their child raising. So even if it's just with words, not necessarily caring for their children, but in support of what they're experiencing and making them connections as well, supporting them so they have the space to connect with each other and have their woman time together with their children. And there's so many areas where we can play a role, and it's just with communication and tapping in. And, I'm really privileged that I am part of my daughter's experience of parenting, and just seeing her group of friends and how they're all navigating together, and with their husbands or their partners as well. But we can have such a big impact just holding the space with them, and and supporting them to have the space to do that, where they don't have to run off and do other things, but we can be there to actually help them navigate that as well. I think it's really important that we're all there in that kind of like network where where there's gatherings and we're all there with the words that we've experienced, what we've experienced in the past, and it's just a really supportive role of being there and being visual and being a part of it. That's my experience, I think, in that area. Yeah. Nice. I think Colleen probably has a bit more in the work frame she can offer.
Yeah, I feel like there's a saying, something along the lines of, when women gather, magic happens. And I feel like we do really need to get back to that gathering space. I feel over the last few years, people are moving away from their families and their communities, the world, being able to get on planes and move to different countries. And so we don't necessarily have that immediate family and friendship circle right with us that we grew up with, for example. And there's definitely different wisdom that comes with different stages in life. And one of the things I think that I'd like to see a lot more of is bringing those generations back together again. So you may have had a daughter and a mother and a grandmother all living in close proximity, where they would have gotten together and be able to share stories and wisdoms, and to be a listening and compassionate ear for struggles or transitions in life that they may have been experiencing And I feel like we're more fragmented now. So I think there has to be more of a conscious effort about how do we create those spaces so that women can come together. And so whether that's, younger girls coming together just to support each other as they're navigating school or puberty or all those kinds of things that they struggle with, but having other older women, whether that's like, the mother's age or grandparents' age, because there's lots of different perspectives that come in that. And so much I feel of nurturing is really just about hearing, just like having people be able to be seen and heard. There's so much healing opportunity in that, and it also helps people tap into their own wisdom as opposed to necessarily having to be told or advised or that kind of thing. I mean, there's a place for that, but I think a lot of the times it's more about just providing a space for people to show up and to be able to unpack for themselves what is going on so that they can tap into that wisdom. And so I know there's online, gathering and circles that can happen. I'd like to see a lot more in actual local communities themselves, and just providing those spaces. And I think really probably, the only thing I can really remember from my own life is like when I first became a mom and I had young kids, there was like a play group that kind of created through, I guess, the medical or the hospital system. But I feel like now there's more people asking for a lot more support because they don't have family or friends nearby. And we just have to find ways to actually be creating those for our communities. And I guess maybe also helping women who want to show up in that space, helping them be supported so that they feel like confident and competent and being able to hold those spaces, as well as the other side of it too. I know I've heard so many people say, I would love to create that in my community. I'd love to be able to offer this kind of support, but I just don't know how to do that. So I think it's both of those that need to come into play.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing, ladies. Seems there's a lot there essentially for women, and it seems very relevant to be supporting and celebrating women on this International Day around the world, all walks of life, all women, ages and sizes, and different life experiences, whether they have children or not. We all have a mother. Essentially, a mother as a woman who brought us into this world. So I find it's quite significant, in fact, just to honor all the women out there, whether they are mothers or not, because it's part of the reason why we are here, because it's a woman who birthed us into this space, a woman who brought life onto this earth through the human form, as far as we know it. Same in the animal kingdom. I don't know any male animals out there that give birth to children. If there are, I would love to know about them, but it seems the women are the ones who bring life into this world. And so it's with great respect that we have this conversation, and also hold it with a sacred reverence to acknowledge that aspect of womanhood. And on the contrary discussion of this, what would be some of the challenges that arise as a woman in your life? For any woman, maybe there's something personal for you or something general for everyone that you're faced with at times, and how do you overcome those challenges?
I think Colleen mentioned it earlier when we were talking about the overwhelm, where we can tend to think we're super women and take on a lot of extra things, not really considering that actually there's certain times in your life where you do need to just hone it down to a certain focus. And potentially when we're in our mothering stage and birthing, and it's really, I can just remember being full of vitality in life and probably taking on a few more things that were really possible for me to have the right amount of energy for. So there is an expectation of yourself, which I think you have to be aware that sometimes you need to just pace yourself and wait till the timing's right. So I think that's one of the challenges that I've faced personally throughout my life. There's many other areas that I'm sure many women have where they maybe aren't feeling heard or know how to express themselves to get what they need to fulfill their life purpose. So I think there's many areas that we all need to work on to be the best we can be in the world. But potentially for women, I think we have the ability to take on many mountains to climb, and we can conquer a lot. So yeah, that's my feelings around that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is the big thing about the fact that there's so much potential and possibility about having to really assess, how much energy do I have? What's my priorities? What's my values right here, right now in this stage in life? Because obviously, as we change, there's our values changes and what we have energy for, and our responsibilities change. And I just noticed that Andrea had just posted to, what did she write? Don't be selfish, but always love yourself first. Without caring for yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, you can never help others. And I think that's a big part of it, is that self-care and recognizing that you can't give from an empty cup. So we have to honor what we need physically, mentally, emotionally, and reach out for support during those times. And this is like a daily practice as well. And then from that place, yes, we are going to be able to show up the best version of ourselves and give so much more in a way that's healthy and more productive for whether that's in our families or in our work or career environments and businesses. So I do feel that overwhelm is one of the biggest issues probably today that women, and burnout, that women are definitely dealing with. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah, so just to reiterate what you both shared, which sounds to be quite on point, but this level of taking on too much responsibility and having, overwhelm and stress and a sense of helplessness with spreading yourself too thin in different areas and trying to take on too much at different stages of life. What would you suggest for these challenges are the key takeaway solutions?
I think Colleen just mentioned one of the very big ones is to ask for help, which I think we kind of we forget sometimes, that it's as easy as just speaking up. And with those around us and those that love us, sometimes they just don't realize. So it's really important just to actually ask and in any way. Most people will respond with a loving action. So I think we kind of forget to voice what it is we need help with. So that would be one of the major ones I would suggest to start with. Also the self practices, like we were saying, so the balance of caring for ourselves and nurturing ourselves, and if we find that through exercise or whether it's through meditation or some time alone, or if it's a new night course or whatever it may be, something for yourself that nurtures you and expands maybe your interest in other areas of life, that can give you a little bit of peace as well. So there's many different tools that we can use, but it's remembering to action them. It's just taking a breath and remembering to take that time and find some balance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the everyday, daily practices of filling your cup up so that you don't get yourself into that burnout or overwhelm space in the first place. So again, it's about having to tune in to recognize, what actually does that, what brings you joy, what's for your mental health and well-being. And that could be anything from journaling to meditation to, having a coffee date with friends that are supportive and nurturing and encouraging and understanding. It can be, getting together for, joining a women's circle where you can kind of offload and learn new skills and tools to help you with your day-to-day navigating life's challenges. Just simple things, also listening to your body when it comes to nutrition, like what the things that you're eating and consuming. because that's going to impact your energy levels. It's going to impact your well-being. So body movement, I always say like fresh air, even simple things like breathing exercises. If having a bath brings you joy, or just, rocking out in the kitchen with your favorite tune brings you joy, then, just you have to know yourself well enough to find those things that are going to spark joy and fill your cup up every single day. I think there's a meme that goes around, something, it's like your phone. You would never let your phone battery die. You charge that up every day, but we forget to do it for ourselves. So it's just the simple little everyday things.
Yeah, that's great. Great advice. Something that you did touch on there that I find could be nice just to finish off with the last question for our conversation, has to do with women's circles. But before we jump into that last question, I just wanted to thank again all of the viewers and listeners. If you enjoy this conversation, you really want to hear more from Colleen and Sally, and also Andrew, who generally joins us on a Tuesday afternoon, feel free to jump over to Earth Heroes TV to get all of the last months of conversations that we've had, which all relate around womanhood, about being a woman in today's society, some of the challenges we're faced with, what it takes to raise a child, the differences between raising boys and girls, and all of these awesome conversations that they share some wonderful insights and experiences on. But to round it off for today, the last question that I have for you ladies is around women's circles and the role of women's circles in a modern society, because it seems to me that this practice has been around for centuries, as far as we know, potentially has been lost here or there as a practice. But what I'm noticing emerge in today's society, particularly in the community up here in Far North Queensland and also in Southeast Queensland, the Sunshine Coast region, is this re-emergence of women stepping up, reclaiming their power, supporting other women, and sitting in circle to share on a deeper level what is alive in them, what's real, what's actually going on in a deeper feeling-based way that they're relating. And I, again, have no experience in this. I have been to men's circles, but I'm curious if you could give us some insight for us men listening in, and also for other women who might be interested in a women's circle in their area. What can someone expect? What actually goes on in this space?
Well, I think it's a really fantastic, exciting time that there is so much going on in this area, because it gives a special space for women to be heard. And also it gives an opportunity to be non-judged, supported. And, if it's done in the right format, it can also give inspiration, and it can lead to many, many things. So I think it's an incredible thing that we're experiencing this right now. And get yourself to one. If you can really, find one that resonates and take yourself there. It could be scary to go there if you don't know anybody, but I'm sure you'll be welcomed with open arms, and you'll be heard, and you'll be really fully supported. I think it's an amazing, amazing thing. So I would highly recommend getting involved and finding the place where you find you to be comfortable to be you. Yeah, for sure. I think it's super exciting. I think Colleen does some amazing work in this area and has beautiful abilities and techniques that you share, Colleen. So I'm really excited about when you get up and running again with all of that women's business. I think it's really important work.
Yeah, thank you. I 100% agree, Sally. They really are just a place for women to come and be heard and seen in that compassionate, nurturing, supportive role. It's a place where you can connect with other like-minded women. I always recommend that because there is a bit of an emergent happening, that go and check a few out, because you're gonna click with some more than others, and it can be the people or the activities. And so go and check it a few out. You'll find them on social media. You'll find them just even looking online. I know with Wise Women Career, that's something I loved doing in the past, and I've been really feeling the call to move back into that space again. And it can be anything from there could be meditations, there could be journaling, there could be dancing, there could be craft activities, or just spaces for you to learn a little bit more about yourself, fill up your own cup, so that the focus is just on you, not your role as a mother or business owner or whatever the other million roles are that you have. You get to just show up as yourself, and allow yourself to be in that space of being nurtured and supported by other women. And we so need more of that.
Yeah. Totally.
Awesome, ladies. Thank you again so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Looking forward to next week. We've got another episode. Hopefully we'll have Angie back with us, where we can explore a new topic around womanhood, but maybe we'll even explore the impacts of social media and technology in today's world once Angie's back with us.
Yeah.
Any last closing statements, ladies?
Well, I really look forward to the day when we also have the International Men's Day, because we celebrate you too. We all need each other and the balance of each other, and you guys need to be fully honored as well. So thank you for being a masculine male in my life.
Oh, beautiful. And I just finish off on, just look at the women in your life. And if you haven't reached out to somebody that maybe has inspired you, or guided you, or provided a safe and helpful and healing space in your lifetime, just reach out and just thank them. Let them know that what they did or said, or whatever mattered. I think that it's just reminding each other that we need support, we need each other, and to honor that space.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. Well said, lady. Thanks again for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.